Hello, it's Ray, and I have plastic on my chair. This plastic's making me crazy. And hello, it's Ray, and I'm back with a full cycle of colors that have gone through my hair, and right back to green where we last left off. Totally by coincidence. I did not plan this. I don't plan. I'm just gonna adjust you. I can't. Okay, so I asked on my Instagram for some ideas, advice, what you want to learn about, what you want to hear about when I'm talking. In my wild, like, scattered ramble, what I could possibly throw in there that may be of benefit to my basic and beginner art series. And series, I gotta start. Okay, art series. And I got lots of really good ideas. So, I mean, I'm not going to cover them all in one video, but I'm going to start somewhere. Okay, so the first one that got me excited was talking about qualities. You go into really any art store or Michael's, and you're going to have a lot of paint and a lot of different qualities. Okay. A lot of different qualities of paints. I'm going to try to not talk numbers, although I can try all I want. I'm going to say what I'm going to say, but I'm going to try to stick to more the like level 1, level 2, level 3. That's how Michael's and other places seem to have them classified as, and I'm not much of a numbers person. I do this. Point, paint, and point. Yeah, so I'm going to just try to stick to like kind of the level 1, basic beginner, level 2, or I guess you fall in the middle, level 3, where only us professionals ever shop. Nowhere else. We get the finest of the finest of the... Anyways, but yeah, I can see why there's lots of questions. I do remember being like, having those myself, and really the only way you can really find out is either through watching my video or time and a lot of playing with a lot of different kinds of paints, which you're going to need to do anyways, because just because I figured some stuff out doesn't mean it's gonna work for everybody. But yeah, so let me start in our store at Michael's, because everybody seems to have one. They have it set up so that you have, like I said, level 1, level 2, level 3. They have it in the acrylics, they have it in the oils, they have it in watercolors, I think. We're going to only cover acrylics because that's what I know best. And I'll go over more brands than just Michael's and reasons and whatever. I'll try to cover what I can cover in 1, maybe 2 videos. I would like to go over paints, brushes, canvases, mediums of different qualities, to just of what I know and I have experience in. Okay, so you walk into Michael's, and in your aisle you're going to start with Ars Loft in the level 1, and beside them, and these will be the cheapest, you'll have the Liquitex Basics. After that, you're going to have some Winsor & Newton Galleria and some Academy. They might have changed something. If they did, sorry. If it's different at your Michael's, sorry. Not sorry, I don't know. Whatever. These Academy Grumbacher. Okay, then you're going to go into the professional ones. You'll have golden, and you'll also have the Liquitex, which I'm sure we're all familiar with. These are Liquitex Basics. These are Liquitex, they say heavy body, excuse me. But basically they're the professional quality. And now Ars Loft has a level 3. I've never tried them, I've never used them, so I cannot talk about their quality. If you really want to know, I can grab some, test them out, and just let me know, and I'll do that. It's like cat. They like being... I can kind of see why that's nice. Alright, well, now that I've done that. Okay, so there's a whole lot of brands, but I want to talk into, like, what do you want to use as a beginner? Maybe you're just starting to sell and you're like, do I only use golden or Liquitex heavy bodies, and that kind of stuff? Can I use the other stuff? I'm going to talk about that. And there might be some brands that I have here that might, I know for sure one that I found is Canadian, and I know I have Canadian people out there because there's more than just me in Canada. If you don't have it, yeah. Okay, so just getting started with quality. What's the difference? What's the difference? So like, why don't we all paint in Artist Loft and just get the biggest bang for our buck? A few different things. I'm sure you're aware of pigment load. So I can't say exactly, but let's say here's Liquitex, different colors, but like there might be, I don't know, a lot more pigment like shoved in this little tiny bit of paint, and like a tenth of the amount. That don't, I just grab that number out of my ass. Okay, put into here, and then they use more of like the filler, which actually I don't know what it's called. It's acrylic polymer of some sort. Anyways, so you're gonna get more pigment color, deeper, richer colors for use less, and then for this use more. Okay, I'm just going to talk about how I do things. Okay, do I stick to, now that I paint professionally or whatever, just only to these and no using my other stuff around? And is it because of money? Not necessarily. I actually, like a couple of years ago, I remember thinking, oh, if I start selling and making tons of money ever, I would just always buy golden. Like that's all I would ever use or buy, and that would be so cool. And now that I've kind of started realizing there's different reasons why I use different paints. Okay, pigment's one of them, but I paint large, so I do a lot of pre-mixing my paints where I make colors in jars, which I think I've shown you, and mixing it with airbrush medium, which I use golden airbrush medium always, and a bit of water, and mix them up, and I paint with a fluid-like consistency of paint always. Now, I am going to throw in a new brand here. This you might be familiar with. I have to get it from my art store. It's not at Michael's, but it's Amsterdam Acrylics. I use a lot of these. They would be, I think they're comparable with these. I just find I like these ones more. So when I mix my colors, I use a lot of these. I do use other ones. They're specific brands that I like their color of the same color better. Like let's say magenta. There are brands, or like Cad Red Deep is a good example. I actually really like System 3, which they don't sell at my art store anymore, but their Cad Red Deep, it mixed well and I liked it, but I used all the time, and I had to find a replacement because it was actually, the pigments were different. I'm going off on the thing, but yeah. Problems you might run into using Liquitex or using the Artist Loft. When you go to varnish it, sometimes they will smear. If you're painting on your varnish, that's more likely, and it's going to be a problem, because yeah, you just painted something and then you take it. I don't know why that is. I have done that with these ones. You can let them dry, and it's like sometimes, and it's kind of hit or miss, and I don't know too much about it because I will use, the only time I will use this is I have like a giant craft fluorescent pink that I'll sometimes prime my canvas with, but I rarely I would say rarely to never use these. These I do a bit more, and because they're Liquitex, I think they have still a bit of a name to hold up to, like, yeah. So, like, they still have reputation, so I guess Michael's does too. Everyone's going to be different, again, in what they prefer, what they like. Like I was saying, I don't just use things like this to save money. If I was making $1 billion, I can't say for sure, but when I mix golden the same way I try to mix these, it doesn't turn out the same. So I really have no reason to just suddenly do this. Do they look the same? No, they're not. I'm going to get into that. These ones are going to be a bit flatter, but not always. The colors might not be as vibrant. As far as longevity, like how long is it going to look good and last? I've only been around so long, so I've only watched my paintings, and so far they all look the same. I do finish them all with a UV coat, which is another thing I'm going to talk about sometime. Okay, so yeah, if could I paint only with golden if they were to sponsor me? Don't I look? Yeah. Could I? Yeah, I could. But just yeah, my nice little comfort zone that I've fallen into. I have certain paints I use for certain things. Golden are really good for me for detailing at the end, finishing things off. They have a nice gloss, nice color, vibrance. The translucent or transparent ones are really great to kind of glaze over. They're fluid acrylics. I wouldn't ever get. I'm going to just stop in that thought. Hold on. So these are their fluid acrylics. That's another option. I sometimes get Liquitex, like soft body, which are like the fluid, but nothing compares to these at all. These are good. So like when I'm finishing off a painting or detailing, or I mean detailing like at the very end, like I paint dogs, for example, and I want to do like the eyes now. I just like focus in on that or focus in on something, and then I usually pull these out, and they have just really nice color, a nice like flow to them. So for me, these are worth their money. I also use them because I am like a scientist mixing up things. Before I start painting, I start mixing up like this paint, this medium, and a lot of times like it's like if the color, if you know your color theory, I don't. I'm just kidding. I know it enough, and you want to dull down some colors or brighten up. To just take a few, because they're so loaded with pigments, just take a few drops and add it in when I'm like mixing up my paint, or if I have it on a palette and I just am like, you know, need to like dull down my yellows, and I put a few drops of like an ultramarine violet or something in it, and then I do that a lot. Okay, so I'd like to show you these. I believe these are Canadian. I don't know if they sell them. They're called TriArt. I just discovered them recently, and not sponsored or anything affiliated with them, but I love them. They say like they're professional quality, finest quality level. They're not that expensive. Again, I don't want to put out numbers, but as far as for what I'm getting, they're beautiful. Like I get them from, I'm going to say this wrong, Desera's, I don't know. I don't have one in my city, but it's a Canadian store. I order online, and they have these, and I use them basically like these, but these ones just have such a nice shine and color and everything. They remind me a lot of golden, but I get a whole pot of them. I'm sure they cost a bit more, but I don't want to talk numbers. Okay, so yeah, so paints, when would you who would want to, this is my opinion, okay? There's going to be a lot of opinions. Who would want to just only use these? Well, people who, they're heavy bodies, so they hold their shape a lot more. So people who do a lot of texture, although I do a lot of texture, but yeah, you know what I think of? I think of like getting a littler canvas and like people who paint the trees and the mountains and the clouds and the skies. Like I could see using these like oils, like painting on a smaller surface, on a smaller scale, and just using these tubes, and it would be well worth it. I mean, your whole painting, the way it would work from beginning to end, you'd have all your colors, they'd be easy to mix, you'd probably just use one palette. I go through like 15 sheets of parchment or whatever on these giant palettes because I use a lot of paint. I don't know. Yeah, and so for me, like that's what I see, like would be a good kind of person to use, only professional. Do you have to? No, but that's just what I imagine when I use all gold. Like I just couldn't see using it all on a giant canvas, even if I had loads and loads of it. So I have painted for a while. I have paintings from a long time ago. I used to only paint with these, so like let's say like 10 plus 15 more years ago. There are paintings I have that I only use these in, and they look fine. Nothing, I have nothing hanging in direct sunlight, but like I don't think I have anything hanging at all that I painted that long ago. But they're good. So this is a starter quality. I honestly think they're a bit overpriced at Michael's. I like to still bring in my coupon or whatever. If you painted your paintings from beginning to end with this, there's nothing wrong with that, I don't think. And again, my opinion. Same with these. I haven't used these as long. Like I haven't seen the paintings in years and years later, but I again, as far as like the quality that I can tell, I've never had the paint like smear or anything like that later on when I was varnishing. And yeah, I also, and it could have something to do with it, the quality, but I always use, this has water in it right now, this is a different one, but the airbrush medium, I always use golden. I don't use anything else, and I've never tried anything else, so I can't give you my opinion. But I also, in my mind, I kind of like, my thoughts are, because I'm mixing it with either the airbrush medium or the GAC 100, like I think it helps with the quality and the shine, and like even just maybe the all around everything, the all around everything of the paint. So maybe this is the lower quality, but I feel like I know the GAC 100 is supposed to like help like maintain the colors of the paint, things like that, and just even like the polymers in it holding it together, all that stuff. It could also have a lot to do with it, because yeah, on my mediums I do only use the golden, although I bought some different ones today. So the other two that you find at Michael's, which are these two, I will occasionally go in and pick these up, clearly, because I have a few. I have more than a few, I have quite a bit. But I'm not gonna say, I'm gonna say, for me, I found my favorites in certain colors and different things, but like, I mean, yeah, I would maybe buy these over, like for me, it's a lot about the texture and the fluidity and different things like that. So like for me, it's usually either buying just like the level 1 sort of ones, or getting what I need in the golden or the Liquitex heavy body or fluid acrylics and stuff like that. Okay, so really I could talk about these, but like it's just a matter of like, I like their cat red, it's good, but but I also like the heavy body golden. Would I go out of my way to buy those if I didn't have to? Not really. I don't think so. I guess they're just like a step in between, but they usually more have the consistency closer, I think, to this, but not quite. Okay. Sometimes you'll get these and you'll find that they come out, they're really slimy and like, or like chunky, like cottage cheese. Bring them back. It usually, I think, means that it's either being frozen too many times. There's a certain amount of times that it can be frozen or not frozen. A lot of times the earth pigments, like I won't get in these because they'll come out, they just won't come out right, or they won't look right. So things like earth pigments, like the browns, the burnt umbers, the raw umbers, the siennas, that kind of thing, I will get in golden or sometimes in a different brand, but I find that for those I just like to stick to golden. As far as white paint, as you probably know, I go through, most people go through white paint a lot more than every other color. So to buy it just in like small tubes, it just doesn't make sense, again, unless you're painting on a smaller scale. So for me, I found two whites, one really that I like, and another one that I'm getting to like. So always for white, I buy it, tons of it. There's 2 bags in here. They don't usually come like this, but I get these abstract. Did I say the other ones are abstract? Those are Amsterdam. I get them confused, but these are the abstract. They're supposed to be like a heavy body, high quality. They're good for the white. I don't like a lot actually of these paints. I don't like the bags. Mine get dried out and plugged, and I have to cut them open. And like at first I thought it was great, but I'm slowly not impressed. And their fluorescent colors are really transparent, and I didn't want to talk, I did want to talk about fluorescent colors too, as far as quality. But yeah, so for white, I used to get the large tube of Liquitex, and I just went through it way too quickly. So the white in the Artist Loft is pretty useless. I don't think it has much pigment in it at all. I don't think it adds much. I think if you're gonna get white, get in the large tube of this or go to this. I did not like the white in I'm trying to read it backwards. Amsterdam. I always get abstract in Amsterdam. Okay, I didn't like that white. I got it once. I got it in a big thing. I didn't like the System 3. System 3, just so you know, I don't know if, I think that places still sell them. It's just I don't get them here anymore, but that's what it looks like basically. I didn't like the white so much, but there's always a time and a place to that you can use it. And oh yeah, I said there was 2 whites, but I've seen 2. The white, oh here it is. I also get this white. It's the Triart, and again, I think it's Canadian made. I don't know if it's only sold in Canada, but it's become my second favorite. As far as, yeah, getting a giant white, that's what I'm gonna do. Okay, and okay, I want to go over fluorescent colors. Hold on. Okay, so one of the other reasons that I get picky about, or when I get picky about which brands or qualities I use, is when it comes to fluorescent colors. I use a lot of bright fluorescent colors. Okay, so fluorescent, the color that they use in it, it's not a pigment. It's, what is it? It's not a pigment. So it's not going to change whether you get the best quality or the lowest quality of fluorescent colors, as far as how light fast they are and how long that's going to last. Again, I spray everything with like a UV coat. I haven't seen my colors fade yet. You don't want to put them in direct sunlight, but they are not light fast at all, which means if I painted this onto something and stuck it out in the bright sunlight, it would fade eventually. And a lot of true pigments, like I know the real Cad Red, not the Hue. Maybe Hue's the other thing. Hue and pigment, is that right? Anyways, yeah. Alizarin Crimson, like they're not very light fast. Anyways, So as far as that goes, that's not going to change from your lowest quality to your best, because those that they can't do anything with. Like I said, I bought this. It's Artist Loft. It's like the crappiest, most translucent paint, but I will prime a lot of my canvases because I like to have bright colors in the background. It's fun to start with a bright pink canvas or bright yellow or bright orange. So yeah. So here's your lowest quality. I think this is even lower than the regular Artist Loft in the tubes. It's like, I don't know, but I wouldn't use it just in my paintings. It's very kind of, it's not, it's, yeah, I pay $11 or something. Oh, I brought up numbers. There you go. Okay, yeah, it's the level 1 or less. These are as well, I think, like a level 1. They're called student grade, which is what a level 1 would be. This is the brand from the store that I buy. Again, I don't know if US has it or not, but you guys have like a lot of art stores, so I'm sure you have a lot of brands I don't have. And actually, I quite like so far some of their fluorescent. So I kind of pick and choose with my fluorescent. I always have on hand like the high quality ones. For finishing off, for detailing, for when it's not bright enough, for when I want them. But I do start off always with my fluorescent colors, and so I mean, the amount I use fluorescent red is not, this is not going to do. This is amazing. This is bright and very densely pigmented and everything like that, and it looks beautiful at the end when I want to put finishing touches on things. But throughout my paintings, again, System 3, which I can't get anymore. I'd have to order somewhere off the internet, but, and I really like their fluorescent red. It really, really, really is good, and for me. And I like their fluorescent pink too, but since, yeah, my art store doesn't have them anymore, I've kind of switched to these ones. And hold on, I have something. Okay, so a while back, I posted this on my Instagram, and it kind of just shows you the different qualities of these are all the fluorescent pinks and magentas that I have, and maybe I'll put a picture, but you can see how they tend to be very flat. The colors, they tend to be like flat or matte, I guess I should say. They're very matte and they don't have much gloss, and they're very transparent. You can see the black line through them all. That's what I messed up on. So I picked up the black, or it's a blue line or something, purple. So this is like the lowest quality of Artist Loft, and then it goes into, actually I don't, this is like the next one, and this one, System 3, and then Liquitex, and then it goes up in quality, so I can't read it, but yeah, all the way to, so you know, I could, this is the high flow, this was the golden magenta, so it's beautiful, you can tell. So these two are the highest quality ones, and that was the high flow, and you can tell that, yeah, compared to that, this one has a very nice color, and it looks pretty. So I can, if you want, I can put a picture of that up or something if you wanted to actually see it better. And yeah, so that's when I tend to another time be like have favorites of certain brands. And right now it's just, but not for all of them, but for my magenta, but they don't have fluorescent red, and so I had to like search for that. So now I'm using the Liquitex Basics fluorescent red. But my favorite was the System 3, which I just got to find, all that stuff. Yeah, so that's another time that when I use brand or quality, I get a bit picky about which I use, and then I kind of always have. It's that's like another thing you can do, is just kind of always have a few of like your favorite colors or something that you know you're going to want to finish off, or you're going to want it to be really vibrant, or and invest in a few of the tubes. I mean, I can't tell you, I love the Payne's Gray and Golden like nothing else. There's no other Payne's Gray that I love as much as Golden's Payne's Gray, but I have it in other things and I'll use it. And but yeah, so I would say what you do is when you get that 40 or 50% off coupon, go and buy like 1 tube of Golden, and then get, you know, some of the lower brand qualities or whatever when they're on sale. And yeah, just, I mean, just paint, right? Like that's really what your ultimate goal is, to paint. So if really all you can get is these, that's fine. I mean, these are good quality, they're fine. If all you can get is Artislaw, that's fine. For a while I painted with Dollarama acrylics until I couldn't stand it anymore, but they're the ones that look like this, but they're nothing like this. But I used to paint with stuff like that. They are, I would at least start at this, like I would not start with a craft paint. I would at least start by buying a few of these, and then yeah, try out a few. You might be like, oh yeah, for what I do, this is awesome. You might be like, for what I do, this is nonsense and I just need these. And I could like forever, if someone were like, you can never have any other brand, you can only use the basics or these, I'd be fine. Like, I think my paintings would still look good. I'd be happy with it. I wouldn't be super stoked if someone took all my Golden paints away, but I don't know. I used to be more attached to them than I am now. It has to do with just what I found I like in my art flow and stuff like that. So yeah, I'm going to make, I decided because I realized that I talked a lot, a separate video for brushes, canvases. I'll try to like put them together, because like mediums we've already basically gone over, and brushes, so I'll try to put brushes, canvases, and mediums into one video and just like go over and yeah. So as far as like, yeah, what you want to get, because some things you do want to get better quality and you need to know why, and you need to know maybe what brands or something like that. So I'll go over those. I hope this was helpful for the paint. If you have questions, feel free to ask. I'll try to answer either in a video or in the comments. And I'm sure I forgot a million things that I'll remember when I'm watching. But yeah, I hope it was a bit helpful, and I hope that you can subscribe and leave a comment. It does actually really help. Like, as much as I always get like really like, I don't like saying the end part, like to see that people are like, yeah, hey, cool, awesome, thanks. I mean, that's why if I'm gonna make them, that's why I want to make them. I'm not getting paid to make them. I'm not sponsored. I'm not anything. So yeah, so do that. Subscribe, or go follow me on Instagram. I'll have the link below. Check out my art, my webpage, whatever you want to do. But I will see you in the next. And so for me, talking numbers is just going to confuse everybody more.